Hi, this is Bill, and continuing on the BilroCAD Autocad tutorials from last time. We're going to work our way through these various commands and just run through them quickly. We showed a minute ago the last one, the stretch command. Now we're going to do the rotate command. You can pick your items, hit enter, pick a point, and maybe you want to go 30 degrees in the positive direction. Positive is always that way, negative is going the other way. So that's now on an angle of 30 degrees. You can check that out, draw a bit of a line from here to here, and get your angle measuring dimension out, and it's 30 degrees, that's fine. Now with the rotate command there's also another little feature. Say for instance you have a line that's going at some weirdo angle up there, and you want this to rotate so that the bottom part of this is in line with that one there. Well, that's part of the rotate command. You issue the rotate command, and as you can see you must select your objects and hit enter when you finish selecting them. So minute you've hit your base point, you've actually got a couple of options here. One is copy and one is reference. If we go R for reference, our reference line is along here, and then so if we pick and pick, we've made our reference, and we want the new one to go up there. So it's a very handy command, needless to say. The mirror command, well, I think we've shown that over here with the other thing, but just quickly we'll show that here. Select your objects, hit enter. Now if it's not an ortho, you can make it an ortho down the bottom and it produces that. And hit enter, because we want to do not delete the source objects. Okay, so by the way, when I hit delete, select something and hit the delete key on the keyboard, it's gone. It's a quick way of erasing things. You can issue the erase command, but that's pretty much not used by most people. Okay, the scale command. So, say for instance we had something we wanted to look twice as big as we do there. Hit enter. We've got a base point, and we've got key in a number 2. It's twice as big as it was before. Just get rid of that. Now, suppose that we wanted this line here to be exactly the same length as that line there. And we'll change it back to, and over here, we can key in here 111, and that'll bring it back to the way it was. And as you can see, it's not the same. So if I move that down onto there, and we want to make that exactly the same length as that distance there. This is quite a handy thing to remember, especially if you're doing something like PDFs or something, and you know there's a length of a certain part of your PDF. You can shrink or expand up your PDF to be more or less pretty much to scale. So we issue the scale command again, and a little bit like the rotate command. You pick your object, make your base point, and then you've got down below, you've got copy or reference. Go R for reference, and the reference length is from there to there, and we want it to go there. So that's perfectly scaled to that size there. Okay, trim. If I put a couple of lines through here, if I go trim, this will actually look through the block and select that rectangle, and if we hit enter, that trimming. It's not a big deal. Extending. If we have, say, a line up here and we want that line to extend to there, hit extend, choose your thing that you're going to extend to, hit enter, and it's extended. You can do multiple ones of that as well. I'll just demonstrate that. I haven't done the offset command. There it is down there. Just skip quickly to that. Offset, and we've got a whole lot of through arrays and layers. What I tend to do is I just go a number 10, and that means every time I click it, that ends off at 10. There are other options with that command. So if I wanted to extend all these so they hit there, user extend, pick your object to go to, and it does it all at once. It's a very nice command. Right, fillet. I'll just explode this guy here. He has already been exploded, so he was a rectangle. He's now been exploded down. We could put some fillets in the corners, go F for fillet, and now we have to choose whatever that is, R for radius, and maybe we make it 10 radius, and we just pick one line, pick the other, hit enter, do another one, and it's not very hard. It's nothing too hard for anybody in that. Anybody could do that. Now the next one is array, and that used to be a pain. You've got two versions of this command. One that's down by the command line, and one up here. I'll demonstrate this one up here. So say for instance we want to make an array of that. You just pick it, and all of a sudden it just goes and does it. And maybe we didn't want 4 columns, maybe we wanted 5. So we just key in 5, hit enter, and it does it. And we can also grab these grips and drag it up by another one. That one there, go and grab it along there like that one. So that's it's all very interactive, and it's extremely good. And the thing about this one is that you're left with that as one object at the end of it, which is fine. And if I hit explode, it's exploded into its individual bits. So if you want it as its individual bits, you can. And now, suppose we wanted an array of that, and we use the command line one, which is -AR. By the way, any command where you issue a dash in front of it, it usually means that it doesn't have a dialog box. It's purely command line only. Very handy for doing things like scripts and so on. So you select your object, and you have to hit enter, and it says, oh, what sort of rectangular do you want? Do you want rectangular? Let's say enter on rectangle. You can have polar. Number of rows, 2 rows, and 4 columns, and say 300 between the rows and 300 between the columns, and there we have it. See, and they're all individual bits. So that's fine. Okay, erase. Well, the erase command. What more can you say? It just gets rid of things. Explode. That just breaks that block into little bits, and it's broken into a polyline, and the little bits that you made it out of it originally. And this is no longer a block anymore, unlike that one there, which is. The offset command I've just covered. Text, covered text. Dimensions, well, we've done dimensions. Leader, I don't think we did leader. Hello. Whoops, can't spell hello. Hit enter. You keep hitting enter, obviously it doesn't stop. You want to save your check changes, yes. That doesn't look terribly wonderful, does it? But it's not too bad. And the thing about this is that if you move that there, it goes like that, or move it down there. That's quite nice, a nice feature. And if you want to edit that, you can just click on it and then type something else if you want to. Tables. I'm purposely not going to go into tables because it'll just take up so much time, but suffice to say, you can create a table and type stuff into it. Just quickly do one. Just quickly, without going into all the garbage that's got on there. And there's a table, and you can type stuff in. Like you can type the number 2, number 4, and 6, and you can say it's a bit like a spreadsheet. Equals B3. No, equals sum B3 down to B5 and close brackets. It should add that up, and it does. 12. Okay. And you've got a certain amount of control over these things. Say for instance you click on there and you say, oh, I want that to be a certain format. Well, they're numbers, so I have an idea that cell styles. Yeah, well, there's one there. It made it central. So you can fiddle around with that. That's the sort of thing that, sometimes you need them and sometimes you don't. Usually you don't. Layer properties, well, that's the button I've been hitting for ages. It's the same one as that one there. And layers, well, that's just this layer dialog box. This is the quick access to it. With layers, you can freeze off things. So, for instance, I froze off that model front. It's not wanting to freeze off. Why is that? Try it in here. Cannot be frozen because it is the current layer. That's the oldest trick in the book. So if I go up to here and make dimensions my current layer and then try and freeze off that green layer, it lets me do it. See that little star there? There you can see a column here for on and off. I tried this out when I was first starting Autocad and it just was horrible. Always use freeze and thaw, forget about the on and off. Hate it. It just got horrible. And you can lock things. You can lock layers so that nobody can alter something on it. If we lock that layer, nobody would be able to alter it, or you wouldn't be able to absent-mindedly muck around with it. So if I go like that, all we've got left is these centerline layers. Now, an interesting thing about command line is that you can issue -LA, T for thaw, and thaw everything, and hit enter again, and everything's thawed. See, there's the command line of this layer stuff up there. You can do all sorts of things like match layers and so on and so forth. So you can make it layer naught and draw a line. And say, for instance, we want to match the layer to that one that's on there. That should turn green. No, now it's going back the other way, sorry. That one is there, telling that it wants that to be on layer naught. Obviously, I don't use that very much. Insert, well, we covered that as inserting blocks. It's just that. Oh, that's a nice way of doing it. I didn't even realise that AutoCAD 2016 must be something that's come up in the last few editions. There's your create blocks and edit attributes and all that sort of thing. Match properties, well, it's the same as this match layer there. If I take that and paint that onto there, it's the format painter. Groups, I don't even touch groups. I don't like them. Some people may swear by them, but I have steered clear of them. When they first come out, I thought, oh, could I use this? And the answer is no. Measure and paste, and base is now a